This is Bud Mormon, Wellington, Ohio. Welcome. This is my big 10 coiler that I just finished building. It's a replication of John Bedini's machine. Not of his 10 coiler, but of the SG. I had in mind I wanted to study the effects of superpole magnets on each end of the coil or regular magnets, but the objective was to study what can be accomplished outside of the box of the normal SG machines that we've been building so far. The magnet arrangement can be superpole on one side and single on the other, or superpole on both sides, or single magnets on both sides. This machine was built with 60 magnets so far. It's got 60 magnets in it because we have a superpole on the bottom and a regular magnet on the top. There are 20 magnet assemblies on this thing, 10 coils. All of the transistors are matched. There's 69 of them. Each one of these guys holds 7, and there's 10 of them, and that is a total of 70, but I'm not using one because one of them this lead right here happens to be part of the trigger circuit. So I'm actually only switching 69 transistors. Each one of these coils on this machine are 130 feet long, and they have 7 strands twisted together, 0.42 thousandths in diameter, enameled copper wire, number 18 gauge. Each of these spools that you can see in here, they're custom built. They're made out of Lexan. They are 875 ID, which is 7/8 ID, and 1-inch OD. And the coil length winding on the inside of each of the sandwich, or the spool of sandwiches, is 3 inches in length. I have one trigger wire right here. Number 18 gauge, which powers all 69 transistors with absolutely no problem. I believe that this is due to the fact that we have such an intense magnetic field passing by the core on each side of the coil winding, and that I have a north on one side and a south on the other, so I'm getting a very, very powerful magnetic field as we pass by that coil core. The primary coming in on this primary lead is number 2 copper. And so the grounding wire is also number 2 copper. The exit side over here going out to the batteries is number 2 aught. I did this because I had leftovers from my solar array and my battery bank, and so I just used it as I had here. These big insulators that you see here are nothing more than parts that I obtained off an old machine. This is the output bus bar right here. And this is 3/4 thin wall copper tubing, which has brazed tabs on it. Now these tabs were brazed on using sulfos. Very highly conductive, very strong, and it's not going to fall apart with the negative energy passing through here. The inner bus bars, these two, are 1/2-inch thin wall copper as well. Items of concern with this machine, with any of the SG machines, is the negative energy is very destructive. I've seen solder joints that have completely fallen apart. If you do not bond the joint together mechanically and then solder it, there's a very high chance that that solder joint could fail at some point in the future. I have actually witnessed wires that have been burned in two in big relay circuits at our plant. I've also seen contactors that have the contacts burned right off of them. This negative energy is very, very destructive. Anything that you do in relation to or trying to transmit negative energy, you've got to pay particular attention to very highly mechanically bonded joints that are soldered and almost cannot go to hell. Part of the objectives, why I built this machine, there are several objectives I wanted to take a look at. And there's like 6 of them that I wrote down here very quickly. And that is, can we make the machine run itself? That's been a big question for all of us. How do we maximize the rotational force to run generator coils and possibly run itself? I wanted to study the magnet arrangements on both sides of the coil. Is the collapsing magnetic field energy more powerful than the electric used to create the magnetic field itself? All indications point that it is. If that's the case, why can't we save this energy somewhere and use it to run the machine by itself, and then possibly extract the mechanical power off of it in some other form or fashion? If we can get more power out of the collapsing magnetic field, how do we store and harness that energy? That's a real big question. These studies have not been explored since the death of Nikola Tesla and the childhood of John Bedini. It is time for all of us to explore negative energy further. I believe this is going to be one of the big future advantages that we have for a race as a species, to get away from burning up fossil fuels for energy.